How are we doing, guys, and welcome to another Blackwood Fitness home workout. Today we've got 5 exercises and we're focusing on the core. Now the core is not just the abdominals here on the front, we've got the obliques on the side, and we've even got some back muscles as well that we need to be thinking about as we're doing our exercises. So we're going to be working through all those different muscle groups and we're going to make our cores nice and strong. We're going to be starting with a 45-second active rest, and then we're going to be moving into that first exercise. So let's get started. Right then, 45 seconds on the clock and you're going to get moving. Now you're not going to be able to see my head for some of this, but that's fine because we're going to be focusing here on the ground as we're going to be working on the core. So just keep yourself moving. You can mix it up, do some star jumps, and we're trying to get that heart rate up to about 120 beats per minute and working up above that if you want to be burning fat. So if you've got a smartwatch, then you can keep an eye on that and you can monitor your heart rate as you go through these sessions. If you don't, just try and work as hard as you can and really try and get your heart pumping, get that blood pumping around the body as much as possible. All right, so a few more seconds and stop. So for the first exercise, we'll be down onto the ground and we're going to be looking at that clock face idea again like we did last week, but this time we're going to be down in a plank position. So you can kind of use this either as mobility work or as an actual workout that's going to be strengthening that core. If we go through the kind of mobility work first, just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about, and it's a good way to kind of warm yourself up into this. So hands down and on your knees, and you're just going to be with one hand at a time. I'm just going to be reaching forward as far as I can and then come back to that center point. And I'm going to be reaching out to the side, back to the center. Now I'm going to reach through my legs as far back as possible, just touching the back of my hand on the ground. And the same when I'm coming this way, I'm coming under the hand and reaching across. And then I'm going to do the same with the other hand, just tap, tap, reaching through, and then reaching across. So that's the kind of mobility work. It's not so hard to kind of get that stretching point. If you want to make it harder, then you're going to have to come up into that full kind of press up position, plank position, and do the same. So I'm up, I'm going to reach back to center, out to the side, sit back, push the hips up, reach back between the feet, and then across underneath the arm. So again with the other side. And you can mix this up and you can go in all different directions. You can even use more points around the clock if that feels good for you. You just work at your own pace. All right, so 45 seconds, let's keep going. So there's a little bit of explanation through this first one, but as you learn the routine, you won't need to watch the video and you can just kind of do it by yourself. The next one's pretty straightforward. We're going to be going into some walkouts. So if you've got an exercise mat like me, you're going to be having your feet at the end of the mat and you're just going to be walking your hands forward as far as you can and then walking back up again with your hands and then standing back up again. So for 1, we're going to be going for 10, as we always do. So keep working. Good. So feet at the end of the mat. Doesn't really matter how wide they are. You don't want to be out here, but you want to be, up to this point probably. And then you're just going to be walking with your hands, and as I say, walking out as far as you can. Keep the core tight. If you can reach with both hands as well, that's a little bit extra. And then back up again. So that's 1. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. And then back into that active rest. Remember to keep mixing it up. Work as hard as possible. Remember, really try and get that heart rate up. So you don't have to do that little bit of extra reaching on the walkouts. You just walk as far as you possibly can. And remember to keep the core engaged. So really tightening up those abdominals, squeezing the glutes. It's all gonna help. What we don't want is to create too much of an arch in the lower back when we're doing these exercises. Otherwise, we're going to end up getting some pain here. So keeping that core tight, trying to keep that back nice and flat like a table as you go through. So the next one is called a dead bug. So for this one, we're starting laying down, and we're going to have our knees raised up, and the shins are going to be nice and flat, and the hands are going to be reaching straight up to the sky with the shoulders slightly off the ground. And then I'm just going to be lowering an alternate arm and leg for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And with those kind of exercises, moving slowly, being strict with the movement is going to be really more beneficial for you than trying to go through it really, really quickly. So think about where the arm position is as you lower the arm, trying to keep it quite close to the ear rather than sticking it out over to one side, and making sure that the lower back is not lifting off the ground too much, and that you're trying to keep everything nice and tight and nice and engaged all the way through the movement. The slower you go through it, the better it will be. So the next one, we're down on the floor again. We're always going to be down on the floor more or less. So we're sitting down in a kind of a seated position, and we're just doing some crunches. So nice and steady, nice and easy this one. So bringing the knees up, bringing the shoulders up, lowering everything down together, not quite touching the ground with the heels and the shoulders, just lowering down. So they're hovering off the floor, and then back up again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Again, working through these kind of things slowly is going to help us, and it's going to build really good strength in that core. If you can rush through it, you can go fast, and that'll keep the heart rate elevated, but it's not going to give you much strength. Yeah. So kind of two ways to think of it. One, if you go really quickly, then you're focusing more on burning calories, burning fat, keeping the heart rate up. If you're slowing the pace down, then you're thinking more about strength and building and developing the muscles inside there. All right, keep it going and stop. So the last one is going to be a swimmer. So now we're the other way. We're going to be laying down flat on the floor, and it's the same idea as the dead bug, in that we're lifting opposite arm and leg up as high as you can, but don't let anything, your arms and feet, don't let them touch the ground at all. So there's a bit of hovering happening. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's working that lower back area. If it's feeling painful, then stop. Whenever we do exercise, pain is bad, yeah. So if it's painful, you stop. If it's just challenging, then that's fine, you can continue, but just make sure that you're not in pain. And if it is painful when you're doing any exercise, don't do that exercise basically. Yeah, move on to something else. There's lots of different exercises out there that can benefit you, so mix it up. Don't do exercises that you hate. Stick to the ones you like, and you'll enjoy it more, and then you'll do it more. Good. All right. So that's the 5 exercises. Yep, you can continue on and keep repeating this as many times as you can. It's not just about, you know, doing as hard as you can all the time. Sometimes just doing it once is enough for you to kind of get a bit of a sweat going first thing in the morning, get yourself woken up, and you feel good about the day. If you can do it more, that's great. You know, 3, 4 times, then you feel like you've done a really good workout. On your rest days, you can just do it once and then just go for a nice walk, and that's going to be really good for you as well. All right, so enjoy your week, enjoy the workout, and I'll be seeing you later on.